What's up, Dirtbags, and welcome back to another episode of Dirtbag Therapy. What happens when you trade fast-paced marketing for purpose-driven wandering? In this episode, Miranda shares her journey as a digital Slowmad, a life of intentional travel, deep local connection, and conscious living. From a bold career pivot into conservation to embracing a child-free lifestyle on the road, Miranda opens up about redefining freedom, building sustainability into everyday choices, and finding meaning in the slow lane. Whether you're curious about long-term travel, rethinking your relationship with stuff, or keeping love strong in a tiny van or trailer, Miranda's insights are a breath of fresh, slow air. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited to get to know you. Do you want to jump in, just tell us where were you born and raised? Just tell us a little bit, and then I'll jump into getting to know like some of the basics of your digital Slowmad and how you got into that.
Okay, so I am Miranda, and I grew up in northern Michigan in the woods, spent a ton of time outside, which till this day I laugh at. I'm like, did my parents just like hate parenting? Like, or was it just, was I too much? Or was it just what kids did? I don't know. But I just spent a ton of time outdoors and, creating forts, doing all of that. So I think truly like this, where I live and how I live today, where is a big question mark, how I live today is so much a reflection of that. And I sit back and I'm like, I am the closest to little Miranda than I've ever been in my adult life. And I turn 40 this year. So that says something. Like, it's taken a long time to get back to who I am. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, because all of those things probably wouldn't have happened had I not taken this slow step, or slow steps. But so I grew up in northern Michigan, spent a ton of time outside. And then I had this desire to move west, like so many Midwesterners do, since like the beginning of, Western migration and takeover and all that jazz. But it really is like still today as a Slowmad, I am still attached to the West, but now we have been living on the road for 3 years. Like, our home base is Denver. Lived there for 10 years, but yeah, we've been floating from town to town in our camper, working remotely, more on that later, and just exploring these really small towns. And that is also a reflection of like who I am, where I've been. I'm from a small town. So here I just thought I was like this big city kid, and now I'm like, I love tiny towns. Love them. Like, love when, a little piece of gossip is shared with you, or the local brewer recognizes you, or people just wave really hard because they think you're someone else. Fine by me. But yeah, that's probably my, like, just the simplest boiled down version of like, I'm living a life right now that looks a lot like how little Miranda would have chosen to live. In a camper, playing outside, having to do some work inside, but talking to strangers. I always got myself in trouble when it came to talking to strangers too.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you're my like soul sister right now. Like, I think a lot of us can connect with that in what you said about like connecting with baby Miranda. Same with me. I grew up Midwest, like a small town, but out in the country, as we called it, right? There were like patches of woods surrounding me. I was like really lucky to grow up right on a lake. So I'd walk, I don't know,
Yes.
200 feet down the hill to the lake. And I was out running around, getting dirty, biking, building forts. And I didn't always realize as I got older the really strong connection and important connection to nature and just being wild and free until probably into my 20s. Maybe mid to late 20s, though I didn't realize it. Like, I started to get back into it because, I don't know, we have different chapters in parts of our life where we get distracted by work or partners or whatever it is, and you just sort of disconnect from yourself. And so when you said that, I'm like, that's exactly it. And that has been a similar sort of path for me. And it's really beautiful that now adult Miranda is like taking all of these intentional steps and like playing Like you're connecting, who doesn't want to connect with their like inner child
I
and
know.
like all the beautiful things of your childhood that you really loved and that were important to you like as an adult if you can make that happen.
Yeah. 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 And I think that it's kind of funny when we use the word dirt bag. Like, I laughed. I was like, I don't consider myself like a dirt bag. Like, I don't, but I am dirty quite often. And I use a lot of like truck stop bathrooms. And I just was like, well, like, I shower every other day. But I think like the dirt bag version is more around play versus hardcore. And
Yes.
after 10 years of living in Colorado, I thought to like be this person that was outdoorsy, I had to like be a climber. I had to do these tough things. I had to have lived abroad. Like, and now I'm just like, oh, I think it just means playing outside a lot. Like, just free,
Exactly.
like just wandering. That's it. Like, I don't even care if you're
It
in a small town as long as you're outside.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think at the core of the word dirtbag, I think of Yvon Chouinard from Patagonia, where he was like
Yeah.
kicking it in Yosemite Valley with all those guys. They were living on like cheese and bread, like off of nothing just so that they could climb. Um, I guess to me, the word, like the riff on dirtbag therapy, the reason I sort of named it that is
Yeah.
that is it's such a badge of honor to wear that, I think. I think at the core of that for me it means people that are just doing things their way and
Aha.
they're living authentically and outside hopefully in some sort of way and sort of connected to the
Yeah.
land and nature um and and I just think that that's beautiful. And the therapy part is like us, like you said, you're on the road, you want to listen to podcasts. There's a lot of folks that are stuck in their 9 to 5, and a lot of people don't have an option to like leave that,
Yes.
or they're scared to. And everybody's situation is different, but there are a lot of times in our life where we can't connect in a way or switch up our lives in a way that is possible, I guess. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to create a space where we could connect with each other sort of in a virtual way, or just be inspired through other people's stories. So that's sort of
Absolutely.
the reasoning behind the
Absolutely.
title. Yep.
It could be a mindset.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Like,
mindset.
how many of us have just been like sitting on Slack and just your eyes wander and you're like, I am no longer in this meeting right now or whatever.
Yep.
I am on that trail I was on last weekend. Like, you could connect with it. And I think that that's just this constant feeling of like connection to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then to yourself. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So let's start with some of the basics. What does digital slow mad mean? You kind of gave yourself that
Yeah.
title or that catchphrase, so to speak. Like, what does that life look like for you and your partner, and what drew you to that lifestyle?
Yeah. I'll do a little more of a landscape painting again because I think it helps. Like, I, for a long time, saw these like people living on the road, whether that be van lifers or, you know, I just had this like romanticized version of it. We all do. It's part of what gets you to do it,
Hmm.
honestly. If
Yeah.
everybody shared all the hard stuff, no one would do anything hard. But I just, so I was living in Denver. I was living in 600 square feet, mid pandemic. All stories start with the pandemic, I feel like. There's some big thing that happened to everyone. Mid pandemic, I had been with my partner under a year. We followed guidelines very closely. We lived a couple blocks from the highway. We saw very little natural light. Like, the walls were closing in on us. And I had initially had this plan to take this sabbatical from the job I had been at for 6 years. I had my own little camper, a little casita that I had bought while I was in Morocco off of Craigslist in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, as one does. I remember like calling my parents and I was like, yo, can you like pick up a camper tomorrow? And they were like, anything for you. I think they were just like, yeah, yeah, that seems right for you. And we wouldn't do it for anybody else or other kids. But so, anyways, so I just had this dream, this painting that I was going to do this. And as the pandemic progressed, it just felt further and further away. And it was just one of those things like I'd wanted this for so long. And I looked at my partner after sobbing, like, because we painted cupboards together, which I never recommend. We did great, the cupboards did not. And for some reason, that was the trigger that got me. They looked so bad. And if the walls are already feeling tight, like looking at ugly cupboards every day next to your desk is not what you want to do. So anyways, I like just collapsed and I said, I gotta go. And he looked at me and was like, would you get something bigger? And I was like, talk more to me about that. And within a week, like we brought home this little shiny machine. And I don't, again, all of this seemed so sporadic and random and impulsive. But like I was one of those ones that was like, I'm gonna live in a tiny house. I'm Red Con Marie. Like I just did all this like minimalism to get to this point with always the goal of living in something on wheels. And finally it just like happened. And that was June 2022. But right away, the logistics of like where to stay, how to work online, like that's not something also that like sometimes we have been doing this for 3 years and we'll look at these like full timers as well and we'll be like, that is a lie. Like you're not working full time. Like it's just not possible. It's like figure out where to dump, how to get water, how to get Wi-Fi, traffic closings, park closings. Like someone is doing a ton of logistics in their free time or they're doing it on the job. It's just so hard. And so we looked at ourselves and we're like, no, that's just not for us. Like we have to work. We both had jobs that gave us permission to hit the road. And we were like, we can't, that's an incredible amount of trust. Like we don't want to break that. And like that money is going to help us do that longer. And so for us, it was very much like a long-term investment, as well as like, we didn't want to burn out quickly. And come to find out, like we watched people, other full-timers that moved every week, burn out so fast. And that's so sad, but maybe that's what they needed. That's all they needed. It was a massive jolt to the system. But for us, it was like, we wanted to change our lifestyle. Like we wanted to get out of the grind. We didn't want to be the same people that left Denver. Like we didn't want to see the world in the same way we did. It was like, we really wanted to change. And so Slowmad came to me from the internet. I feel bad that I can't like cite a source. And I was like, that's it. Like, and I still don't see it that often, but what it looks like logistically is we pick a city for a month and we stay there. So like you get to know the grocery store, like you get to know your neighbors. Like I said, I'm a big fan of breweries and showing up to the same place and building that rapport. Like people have hugged us as we've left town. And I like love that. There's just this like chance, we'll talk about this later. We've talked about before too, like volunteering. Like I get to show up as more than just a passerby or a tourist. Like we joke that we're professional tourists. So yeah, we stay a month in these, and they're usually, that's the other thing, not glamorous, small RV parks. It's not these cool like BLM, I'm out in nature, a moose is going to wander through. Like, no, it's just, we couldn't get that to work ultimately with like Wi-Fi, and we're not Starlink fans. But we were just like, that's just what works. And really like, we even slowed it way more down. We've spent 2 winters in Taos, New Mexico. So like, because we were like, well, winter's hard. We don't want to go to Florida or hot places. But we don't want to like reset up all this winter stuff once a month. So yeah, it's gotten even slower. Now I'm like, we're a digital slower Matt. Like turtle speed, slow. But we're getting back on the road now and picking up pace. But it just has been, I joked the other day, this last thing on this topic is like time for the first time in my life feels like time. Like 2024 felt like 2024. Like, and I mean like, you know, people look at each other like, oh my gosh, it's already February. I'm like, no, yeah, I knew it was February. And I think it's that attachment to like, we move once a month. So I can be like, oh, I was in Vermont for July and August. But it's also like, like I see time almost. I feel it. I'm not surprised by how fast things are going. They're like going at the exact right pace. So that's a long story, but definition of Slowmad, because I think it helps to just say that it came with a lot of expectations and we didn't want to burn out in this life either, because you can't.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. I haven't, the podcast is just getting going, so I just talked to yesterday another van lifer. It was like a trailer lifer. They were on the road for 4 years. And she's talked about some of the similar things, but I think like you, and some of that burnout that people feel. So I think that's a super smart way to go about it. How do you just get out a map? How do you start deciding even how to talk about? I mean, in the winter it makes sense. You said you want to be somewhere a little bit warmer, but not somewhere hot.
Yeah.
How do you sort of decide where to go? And then you said you stay about a month. Are there other times where you have stayed a little less or a little more? You've got some flexibility.
Well, we like, my partner will laugh at me, and initially I would call it city shopping because we didn't know where we wanted to live long term. And that comes with a ton of privilege, to be able to say that, like, as remote workers ish. More on that later. But yeah, like, there are a lot of states we didn't want to go to. Like, we're just not, we both grew up in northern Michigan. Like, we're like allergic to heat. And our first summer we spent in Montana, and I'm actually out of Missoula right now. And it was so hot, so smoky. And we're like, we didn't really leave a place. It felt just like Denver. And we were like, climate wise, we're like, we gotta cool off. So weather really determines where we go. We do not like heat. So we've just kind of stayed. We haven't, like, that's the other thing. In 3 years, people, you see those maps on RVs and everything's marked off. It's like, no, we've really traveled this, like, northern coast. Like, Montana is like our pass-through state. And people are like, how is that possible? And we're like, we like north. It's more like us, but it's also more like the things we like to do and the people we like to be around too. So it's kind of funny. Creatures of habit, even in where we travel.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I get it. I'm a northern person too. Grew up in Minnesota. Yeah.
Oh, you get it. You're hardcore
yeah.
than I am.
Yeah. Thank you. Like, I live in New York, and there are quite a bit of Midwesterners, especially at my place of work. There's like a few people from Michigan, and yeah, or like my kids or other staff will be like, "You're from Michigan," or I'm like, "No, I'm from Minnesota," and I know you don't know what that means because you're from the East Coast, and the East Coast is, I don't know. People are bubbled and isolated. Like,
really
New Yorkers are so worldly. Yes, a lot of them really are, but like once I don't know, you're born and raised here, it's just like anywhere else too, where you don't always know about other places, especially the Midwest is such a Passover like area. And so,
well, it's so big.
But people that truly know the North, and if you say you're from Minnesota, and people are like, "Damn, okay, yeah, you hardcore.
Yeah.
It's cold as hell there."
Hardcore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, we ended up spending, you'll love this, we ended up spending a summer after the hot Montana summer. We're like, let's go back to Michigan. And we spent like a summer in the Upper Peninsula, and it was unreal. Like, it truly, I don't want to say untouched, but it had that feeling of like, not a lot of people come here. Of course, some of our closest friends we met while we were up there, and they're from Florida, and we looked at them like, why are you here? How did you find this? But it was just that, yeah, like, and we spent some time in Duluth, like, just cut across, and it was like, oh. But here again, like, people kind of laughed at us. They're like, you've been on the road for a year. You left Michigan, and then you're spending an entire summer back in Michigan. I'm like, yeah. It's cooler, okay? Like, it just is. Like,
it draws you back. We do the same thing. I have summers off. I work for the school system, and same with my partners. So we were back in Minnesota the whole summer. I spent a week in Iowa cycling across the whole state. It was awesome. It was an organized ride. It wasn't like, it's an organized ride where like 20,000 people do this every summer. And you stop. Speaking of loving small towns, it's called Ragbri, and it's fairly well known in the cycling community if you like to do organized rides. So it's 7 days. There's 7 overnight towns. And then in between the overnight, so you do one overnight town to the next each day. In between, there are tiny little towns that you stop at to refill your water, go to the bathroom, get food, listen to music, go to the beer truck. Like, it's awesome. It's like a huge carnival on wheels. And some people don't cycle. There were rollerbladers. There was a unicyclist. There are people like the handicap accessible ones where you're like sitting back and
a recumbent. Those are a good time.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were called. But anyway, so I spent Yeah, we spent our whole summer in the Midwest, but uh, yeah, Iowa gets hot in the summer too, and
Yeah,
Minnesota. These places get really
yeah,
hot and humid, and
yeah.
we like to say that our state bird is the mosquito. So
Well, that was
that's not always.
I'll leave that one thing. So after like a fiery, a fiery Montana summer, we're like, we got to get out of the smoke. And people were like, yeah, but, and we were like, we're going to Michigan. And they're like, yeah, but like, what about the mosquitoes? And I'm like, you are equating forest burning down to like catastrophic levels we've never seen before to like mosquitoes.
Yeah,
I was like, just figure it
not the
out. Like
same.
you just,
No.
yeah, you just do. You just, it's actually quite. We did not have a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think mosquitoes love me that much. Um, who knows? But anyway, I just laughed at like people's things they say.
Yeah.
I get
It's
such
very.
humor from
Yeah.
the little quips from people. I'm like, that's not
Are
how it
we in the
works.
same universe? I was gonna say
We're not.
planet, but like completely different universe, I
Yeah,
think
we're
there.
not. We're not.
So SWAT at a mosquito versus air quality and safety.
Yeah,
Okay,
safety.
I'll take mosquitoes.
Yeah, and you get used to them. You just put the stuff on, and
Yeah,
there's good natural stuff now, unlike my childhood. You're fine.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, it's so funny.
yeah. People are silly. What does slowing down actually mean to you in practice? Like, what's been the biggest mindset shift in embracing that pace, that turtle pace, as you said?
I mean, I caught. We used to like still like maybe like a year even, and sometimes we'll catch ourselves too. You know how like you come back, like we call them separate Saturdays, and he'll go do his thing, I'll do my thing, and we'll come back together. That's part of why this works. And we'll just like, or it's separate Sundays, whatever. And we'll come back, and sometimes we'll still measure how our day was based on productivity, even if it's not like productivity, like I checked all my to-do list off. It's like productivity as far as how many miles you went, how much elevation gain, like just, and we're like, that's not okay. So for me, it's like just a lack of measurement and attachment also to a clock. Like just this more like riding the wave through the day. Like just not this, you can tell what time it is usually. Like get to know the sun. Is it midday? Is it at late afternoon? Here in Montana, but the sun doesn't go down till 9 p.m. right now. And we're like, that's a little hard, but what we get used to it. Like you just feel more tied to like an internal natural clock.
Hmm.
Now that gets us in trouble sometimes, air quotes trouble, is because we'll spend the whole morning just like reading. That is nothing we ever did in our old life. Like we'll just whole morning reading, and we're like, oh shoot, lunchtime. All right. So it's just this like lack of internal clock, I think, and just living more freely versus even using words like I had a productive day, and it's like what? That's ridiculous. Don't do that to yourself. But yeah, I think it's just a mindset shift. But I think it's even more than that. It's very internal. It's like in my bones. Like I just move slower. Like I'd be an annoying person to bring to a mall right now. Like we're not going fast. We're probably gonna stare at one window. Like it's just I'm so slow.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. Tell me a little more about that, because you've been on the road for 3 years. Give a little bit of an example of pre-Miranda, before the slowing down, versus now. What are some things that are the most noticeable? I know you said physically slowing down, and that's great. And what's that done for your mental health?
Oh, just like the internet promises you, slowing down changes you. Like it just does. And I don't even mean it's an internal thing. Like I said, I can still go to a city, and I just act differently. Like I don't say like I'm gonna check this whole box. I just say I'm gonna do this one thing today. I'm gonna go see this one place. I just it makes you an observer of life. And like I said kind of earlier, like I think that also to get deep again, it's just this like time is real. Like I feel very attached to like time, but not from a clock, just to like the flow of how a day works. But ultimately, like mentally, it's going to be really hard. I'll say this to like shift back into like a 9 to 5. Because for me, this was another fun fact, and I said I would get to it, but I don't remember if we had something. But I had signed up with a job or signed up for this life with a job. They approved, we're good to go. I was already a remote employee. It was the most toxic job of my entire life. I didn't even know what that meant. I thought burnout was like, oh, people like do it to the sun, or they have a bad boss, or no, this was like every part of this was bad. And here's how I know. I quit 2 weeks, gave a new notice. It was a good leave. But the company closed after 12 years, a month after I left. And like everyone was laid off. And so I've been since then on this like path of finding what my new career looks like. So I think that it will be jarring when I go back to like a 9 to 5 potentially, but I feel like I'm holding myself to a better standard too. And I hope it's just contagious. Like I had a friend last night who we've traveled together before, and she says that like when she travels with me, it feels different. Like we're not rushing around. We're sitting in our bathrobes like a little bit longer than we should. We, talk to strangers longer than we thought we would. We end up in shops for like hours during a rainstorm looking at one rug. Like it's really truly like a different way to live, but also just a different way to treat yourself. Like it's just I just think it's a really incredible way to respect your mind, your mindset, and then your time. Like I said, it feels so good. Yeah.
That's a beautiful shift. I think that's again a huge piece of why I'm doing this is there are just so many issues with just digital life and the hustle culture and do more, make more, post more, do this, do that. It's like, whoa. People are like really sick of it, I think. And it's so toxic, it's so damaging. I think it's causing so many issues beyond our measure at the moment that we can't even conceptualize what the impact is going to be. I think we're living in the impact, but like nobody knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, just slow down, everybody.
Slow down. And I think we can also give each other, like I said, a friend didn't see the difference until she was with me. And I didn't see the difference until I went to some of these smaller towns where things like just are slower. You don't have errands to run. Like we joked that we're like, how did we spend entire days running errands? Like in Denver, everything is on purpose drivable, but that like will take up your entire Sunday, even if you're just going out for the basics. Now we like stock up and we really like only run to like the big box store once a quarter. So it's just like our whole mindset has shifted. We're like, and trust me, after those days, I feel so darn drained. But so like even how I spend my weekends is different. How I spend my evenings is different. How I spend my lunch hour is different. And it's not always like, that's one thing I think we were going to talk potentially about, like what's a misconception with a digital Slowmad life. And a massive misconception is that like, that you don't have regular chores. Like that you don't have to go to the doctor all the time, or like you don't like the normal stuff happens. I think you do a better job of planning ahead because you don't know when the next time you're going to see a Trader Joe's is. I stock up like even in a small space. I found a way to stock up. Don't mess with my chili lime sauce.
Every little crack goes to Trader Joe's. That'd be me too. I'm like, it's too good to pass.
No, I'm like, I seriously have like 5 things of chili lime sauce right now. Like, why? Like, and people at the store do look at me funny. I've caught that. They're like, you really are planning for something. But I think that's also what people in small towns do. They go into their big town and then they kick it back out. Vermont, they didn't look at me like I was weird. Like all there is Burlington. So you go in there, you get your stuff, and then you go out to your 300-person town and hang out forever with your people and your livestock. And it's really wonderful. But yeah, I think that's been a massive shift too, is more of this like planning ahead, knowing that something, like I didn't get my hair cut for a year and a half. Like what? Because it's so odd. You just kind of fall out of these things that used to keep me busy. I just like kind of forgot to cut my hair for a year and a half. This is a new hairdo. I got to donate it, so that was sweet.
It looks fresh. I just got my hair cut too. It's like,
yes.
You can't even, I got it cut so much that it's sort of a bob and you can see sort of the bottom and then the back, but But yeah,
It's
I'm the
freeing.
same. I've always sort of been that way. So like once a year, or I'll be pushing
Yeah.
a year and a half, and I'm like, okay, it's time. Let's chop it. You know.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna do it in my sleep. I was so mad at it. But yeah, it's crazy that I just I don't I sometimes like we say this line to ourselves all the time too. It doesn't have to be this hard. I think that's kind of like you it just doesn't. You can slow down. You can get rid of things. You can work less. Like you don't know until you try, but I recommend baby steps. You can't go all in. It never works that way. No cold turkey.
Yeah, I think the best things in work life and in just personal life is a slow roll, a slow just try a little bit at a time, and then yeah,
Yeah.
as you're adjusting, then eventually you're going to get to somewhere you're like, wow, that I've made some big changes. But I think to get to those big changes and look back, the most successful way to do it is to take a little bit at a time and not jolt yourself, you know?
Yeah. Like I laughed like the phrase like death by a thousand cuts. I was like, this is happiness by a thousand little sprinkles. Like truly, I have been wanting to do this since 2015, 10 years. So like people will look and be like, you have such little stuff, I could never do that. And I'm like, it's not, I didn't get here yesterday. Like this has been again the slowest walk of all time. Like I'm worse than a mall walker. Like I just
I've
do
been
everything.
turtling, yeah.
I've been turtling forever, and my shell is so happy now that I took the time to turtle.
Yeah. So you've made a bold leap from consumer driven marketing to
Mm-hmm.
conservation. I'm excited to hear more about this. What was the turning point that made you say I'm done and I need to pivot?
It was like it's similar to that. Like it was just these very small steps. Even my sister the other day, she was like, Marina, I've never had an aha moment. And I was like, I don't think those exist. Like, I just don't. I've never, I don't, I, even when you try to, either people formulate it, I don't know. I have a few theories on why we think they exist, but I think it's mostly this like something feels off. And you try different things to figure out like why it feels off. So me, I was like working for a sustainable fashion brand. I was like, well, I'm doing something good. And even when that was very attached to consumerism and the grind, I was like, wait a minute. So then I was like, well, I'll work freelance because I don't want a boss. Well, that really wasn't it. And then I signed up for this climate course. It's a fellowship that I absolutely adore. And but it was like I knew about that for a year before I signed up. So it was just like I was planting all these seeds and like until they were ready to be harvested, I didn't even know I was planting them. They're mystery seeds. Um, but it was just all of this like evolution. But similar to what I said to my sister was like, unless you stop and slow down, you can't even plant seeds. Like you're just gonna stomp over the ground until it's dead. I was like, I don't know. Aha moments don't come, but you have to be free if in theory if they did. Like instead I've just had a ton of aha moments and I've like watched for those signals. I've listened to my body. I've listened to the people around me and full circle, I listened to little me. I kind of said I was like, what would little Miranda have chosen? Because I chose consumer driven marketing. I'm not joking because these people in this ad agency that I was working at 16, because my uncle owned it, they took doctor's appointments in the middle of the day. And I thought that that was profound because my dad was a police officer and my mom was a teacher, and they didn't have any flexibility in their schedule. So, this like work life balance, which we call it now, also potentially made up. But it is still this idea of like just flexibility in your day to show up as a human for your people and for yourself. That was not something I saw in any other profession. So I chose that role because I was like, oh, I can be creative and I can do cool things and I can take a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day. Come to find out, like massive burnout comes from marketing because I also have friends say that and they're like, why aren't you on social anymore? Why aren't you posting pictures of your trip and your thing and the things you see? Why don't you start a blog? And I'm like, you know, I did that for 20 years, right? Like I was paid to do that. You know, we had to hop on weekends and fix things because something happened at a ski resort. Like there's just things that happen and it just finally I was just exhausted. But I also realized like I went into it thinking I wanted something else, and really like, how did I spend my free time? It wasn't on social media. So yeah, it was a full circle moment, but it was just, again, a lot of tiny steps. And the second I felt like jolted by something that felt wrong, I was like, oh, ooh. And conservation came to me from that climate course, just in that it was, when you talk about the general climate movement, those two things still feel very separate. And I am still so new to it. I don't know why, but it's like part of what I want to solve for is like, we can't just be going and creating all this great tech without protecting things. But then we can't just put up walls and protecting things. We have to like find this way back to like making everything work a little bit better for everyone involved. And that includes this separation, or nature as we call it. It's like, no, that's us too. Let's hang out a little bit more. Let's make sure it works for everybody involved. But I don't think that the current climate movement, those two things overlap more than they should. Even in my course, there was like a few slides in 120 hours that talked about conservation. And I just was like, but that's what I want to do. Anybody here? And no one was. So there's plenty of people doing it, but I think that there's just time to have conversations with people outside of your own realm if you all care about the same damn thing.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great segue. Can you tell us more about the 120-hour climate fellowship that you did? Like, what did it teach you? How did it shape some of your next steps? It's a little bit deeper of a dive.
Yeah, I think I laughed. I'm actually, I said in there, I was like, I've never been so hopeful, but I'm in a room with people much smarter than me, have been in this longer. We're all talking about the planet. Well, the planet will be fine. We won't. We're all talking about our world ending. And I was like, but I have more hope than I ever had. Like, I was looking at the science for the first time. I was listening to the experts, not just the headlines, not just, because I was coming at so much of this from like a sustainable, minimalist, get rid of your things, buy the bamboo brushes, when really I realized like this is so much bigger than that. And the US's impact is so much bigger than I understood. So there's a bit of guilt there, of course, and that's, you can use that for good. But for me, I finally saw other people who cared, but I also saw a lot of people doing things I had never even heard of. So like people were already working, and I was just like, oh, I thought everybody just talked about it.
No, there are people working. Yeah.
So many. Like,
Yeah.
And I knew, but I always thought it was like the scientists and the journalists. Like, I didn't think about like green tech. Yes, I thought about solar, but I didn't think about like just all like ESG experts and people in regenerative ag. Like this, I just didn't know these people. And now I have, no offense if I broke up with anyone on LinkedIn, I just wanted to surround myself by people doing cool shit that wasn't marketing. And we need marketers in this, but I just changed my entire, after this climate course, I changed what I was looking at, and I have never been more hopeful. And it's just funny, if you think about like our current state, there's not a lot of hope. You got to go find it though. And it is abundant once you plug into it. Your little EV brain. But yeah, so that was kind of the biggest thing for me, was like, oh my gosh, like there's people doing this everywhere. They're making impact. We have the solutions we need. We just need more people in it, more funding. But ultimately, like I came away with friends. And that wasn't something I had in my former life of go, 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 go. I didn't have climate friends. I don't know what else to call them. I call them my climate crew. I like randomly go to cities and I'm just like, do you guys want to hang out? One person showed up in Missoula, count it.
Absolutely.
Like, truly, I want friends that give a shit.
Right. And that are doing something about it. Yeah.
But also they're really
That's the difference.
But also they're willing to like, I think it's more, like I was just so bogged down by the doom and gloom and like focusing on personal choices. When you start to shift, and that's what this course did for me. It said, look at all these things, people doing great, but also it gave me like this future that I could now imagine. And so like, that's what my climate friends are. They're like, I'm like, you don't just talk about the doom and gloom. Like you see a future where it is so much better than the present. And we wish we were there or further along the line than we are, but you get it. Like all of a sudden, they're not sad people. Like these people have been in this way longer than I am. They have every reason to be like really clinically depressed. But they aren't. Like they're just like, well, make it be like so, there's always setbacks, but it's just the most hopeful, kind, collaborative community I've ever been part of. And none of us have the same background. None of us are from the same places. None of us studied the same things. So it's really wild. And I drank the juice, and I'm gonna keep drinking it.
You drink the Kool-Aid. It's some good Kool-Aid, huh?
Yeah, it's like sugar free and
Yeah, I love that. I keep
it's water.
it's water. It's natural
water.
spring water from
Yeah,
the mountains.
it's recycled. It's gray water. Sorry, everybody.
Gray recycled water. It's like
Yeah.
Water World, that movie. He recycles his pee and then turns it into water somehow. I'm like, all right.
That is not
Yeah.
Slowmad life, I swear. We're very responsible about our waste.
It's like all the hopeful van lifers now are like, nope, I'm not doing that. Never
No,
mind.
no,
I'll stay in my
no.
9 to 5.
Yeah,
I
they're
keep
like,
thinking of this phrase that we use at my work. I don't know who coined it. It could have been, I don't know. We have to go upstream. That's what we say when we work with kids. Like, let's go. We don't have to get, like, if we get caught in a power struggle with a kid or like a parent or whatever that's like really upset, let's go upstream. Let's zoom out, and we have to go upstream to figure out where the issue is. Let's see the issue. We see the issue downstream. Let's walk upstream and go check it out and figure this out, because there's a solution, right? And so
what's the core? Where did
that's
this come
fitting.
from?
Yep. Where's the root of the issue? What's going on? Let's go suss it out. Come on, come with me.
And it becomes this like interconnected struggle. That's something for me. Like I felt very isolated and angry when I thought there was nothing I could do about it, or that the problem was too big. And the problem is still too big, but I think I'm like, oh, yeah. I know my place in it now. And I'm telling you, like, I'm probably annoyingly optimistic at this point. But I don't, it seems it's a much more fun life.
Yeah.
We're all really lonely and isolated. And that's exactly how I felt. And I know we keep talking about the word community, but it's odd because I'm like, I have felt more connected to people when I am literally around no friends or family ever. I'm like, isn't that strange? But I have to go seek them out. I think that's the big difference is we've talked about, like I volunteer in every city I go to. I host these random happy hours. Even one person may show up to, and I'm fine with that. Like I'll go sit in a coffee shop and like just join conversations. Like I'm kind of that, I'm sure there's probably like a, who knows, like Reddit of strange lady appears again. In community events. Why is she here again? She doesn't live here. But it's just, I think you have to push yourself to like go find, like I said, like find what's out there. If you don't think hope exists in this world, like you're not looking hard enough. It's there. It's harder to find, but that's part of the adventure. So yeah, that course like didn't just give me friends. It didn't just give me hope. And it gave me purpose, but I think the piece for me that attaches to conservation is like finally a piece to me that it's more about the people, like the people aspect of conservation, like the community building, the community projects, the policy where everyone is thinking together. And I'm taking like an environmental justice course, and that has just, let's go. Like it's so beautiful. Scary, sad, yes, and not okay. But there's people out there doing the hard work. And I just want to be the cheerleader, ultimately. I think we all think we have to create the damn thing. And it's like, no. Just show up. Yeah. Just show up.
And then you'll figure out your piece in it, your part in it. You mentioned volunteering. That's such a beautiful way to connect to a place. Volunteering locally, wherever you're at. Can you share a story about a favorite volunteer moment or one that really stuck with you?
First, I want to give like a tip because it was hard in the beginning. Like I'm only there for a month. A lot of places like want you to fill out an application. I found that the number one place that will take randos rolling through town, food banks. Like anybody come as you are. Like
they always need help. Tons of food to pack. Let's go. Yep.
And it's just it's low barrier to entry. It's wonderful. A lot of conversation. with your fellow volunteers. So I've had most success at local food banks. I spent a big amount of time in Taos at the local animal shelter. That was incredible. Um, and then this was pretty wild. I was having a hard time because, I mean, we're in Vermont. It's 2 summers ago, last summer. See, I'm all like, I know time. And then I'm like, I don't remember time. But last summer, and we're in this tiny town, and I'm like under 400 people, and it's raining in the middle of the night. And that doesn't seem strange. We've already been through like an atmospheric river in California for 25 days of rain. Like we've gone around some unnatural disasters, correction. But all of a sudden, wake up in the morning, the whole town is gone. Like, just gone. And we're like, what? Like, we're right outside of town. We technically were only 400 feet-ish above the town. And that's what, like, saved where we were. And right away, like, you have to, like, go. Like, you can't. I was like, I learned what the word muck boots are. They're just boots, but they call them muck boots there. They're like, grab your muck boots and let's go. And so I showed up as much as I could while I was there. Even at one point was like leading a large group of strangers in a person's basement, cleaning out things. It was just this like, I can't say that I think anyone all at some point have experienced a natural disaster or unnatural disaster, but I think just this idea of that it's going to keep happening unless we do something, that ties back to the climate work. But it also, that's the stuff where you finally are like, okay, see, everyone's talking like no one likes each other, but they do.
But
they
then
know how to show up. They know how to show up. They keep showing up. I mean, no one there was paid. And it lasted 2 months, the 2 months we were there, because then, wait for it, we had 2 1,000-year floods. It was back-to-back floods I've never seen anything like it, but wow. Like, and just years before, Vermont was labeled as a climate haven.
Mm. And then this happens.
Yeah. And wow. But it was just incredible to see people coming together. But beyond that, it's just how, like, we all get kind of bogged down by process in our work and our lives. And all of a sudden there was no process. There were no rules, and it just got done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that is wild. It was just magic. Like you never, I think anyone, like I said, who's been through this has seen it. But for me, it was like, there was no outsider. I wasn't like a not local. They were there. There were smiles. It wasn't sad. It was like, it was.
We have work
really,
to do. Yeah.
We have work to do. Like, let's go. But I found it at a farmer's market, the like sign up. So you just like never know where things are going to appear. But that was truly one of the most incredible experiences, because I didn't have plans. These were small towns. They didn't have a food bank to show up to. And I'd emailed some folks, but it's like the volunteering found me. And I think it will.
Yeah.
It always will. It's always available. And it's such a good way to meet people, make friends, and also feel like you're not just a visitor. Yeah. I try really hard not to just be like you're sharing your space with me. I feel very, very lucky that, that people are so open and kind when we wander through. So that's my just tiny way of paying back my rent, gotta pay the rent.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's super beautiful. And I think, just for the longevity of being on the road or in a place, I mean, I think that goes back to maybe something people don't think about with van life or living nomadically is connecting to a place, like a little longer term. I love that this is how you do that. And you're not just a passerby, or like, how can you make it more authentic? How can you truly make it more authentic and connect with people in the place that you're currently in, make it more meaningful? That's awesome. As a kid, my hometown was obliterated by a tornado in 1998. But I lived on the outside of town, remember? Out on the lake. And so a lot of my friends were displaced. This was an F3. It was close to an F4. It was an F4. I think it gained ground after it hit, because there was the path that it hit two towns in particular. We were the first town, then it gained speed and turned into an F4 and really obliterated the next town. Yeah, really horrible. But like you said about volunteering, like I have so many memories as a kid. I was in fourth grade. I can still smell and like
Smell.
see these images in my head and remember the places that I helped clean up. And we were never like turning people down. And
Never.
there was nothing else to do. Schools were closed for a while. There was a big part of the high school that was destroyed, so all of those kids were displaced to the elementary schools. So we were all on half days because we had to share space. And nothing was more important than just helping everybody. It doesn't matter if you hated Bob down the road, like, what's up, Bob? I'm here. I got my muck boots, Bob. Like, give me a trash bag. Where do you want me, Bob? You know, it was like
Oh, it's
you
so
put your
true.
you put your shit aside and you went and you helped, and that's what you did, and the Red Cross fed us, and
I'm like,
yeah.
is volunteering going to save the world? Like, our natural disasters?
Probably.
Like, let's not make that way, people. Let's volunteer
No.
ahead of time. Let's
Right.
get to know our neighbors.
Let's be proactive. Yep.
Yeah, I also volunteered
Let's
in
go
college
upstream.
after.
There it is again.
Yes, yes. I volunteered after Joplin in college, and so that smell of tornado, the smell of like the mold in these homes that quick, it will stick with you beyond that. But I'll leave you with this on kind of put a little bow on the volunteering one. I'm in, my hands are physically in the ground. I'm working at a food bank that has a farm-ish community garden in Salmon, Idaho, and this woman just kind of looks at me. I don't know how it started. I don't know where it went after. She just has one line that stuck with me. She goes, "But you can't recreate all the time." And I was like, "Your whole town's built on recreating." Like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked my dog hasn't chimed in. Her name's Helen. And
Oh, Helen. Cute.
yeah, she came with that name and we named her Helen Hunt. We added the Hunt part. And then we made her watch
Adorable.
Twister. So, oh gosh, now we've really made this Hollywood.
It's a full
We're
circle.
dripping in gold.
Yeah, my
But yeah,
crazy
it's-
husky mix, they always make an appearance, both of them. So
Oh, they have to. Like, she doesn't want people to know where she's at right now.
she's hidden now. Yeah, incognito
yeah.
mode.
Right, Helen? I'm busy. But yeah, I always volunteered. And I truly was like, I've got a lot more time on my hands because I've been in this like long transition from work. My friends have changed dramatically since having lived in a city. Like, I truly was like, what am I going to do with my time? And kind of like that woman said, I was like, I can't recreate all the time. I was like, even when I entered this, I had like a bum knee, and I was like, this is when I have knee surgery, when I'm about to like go to all these cool places. But no, I think it's been by far the most rewarding piece of this, and it's also been the most entertaining. Like characters at these places, like, oh, they're just delight. The people, the best of the best come out. One guy was like, I don't carry cash. I don't believe in cash. And I was like, tell me, as we're packing boxes, I was like, tell me about, I was like, how'd you pay for that car? And he was like, no. And I was just like, keep going. I'm interested. Like, just amazing people. It's so fun.
I love that. That's the best. Just strike up a conversation with. I mean, these people aren't seemingly. I guess they're random to you because you're just volunteering with them. But anywhere,
Yeah.
like at a brewery or what, And so that only happens when you give yourself and allow yourself the space and the time to do something like that. Oh my goodness, hang on.
That one like looked like I'm getting this in. Like, I stared right at me and was like, I'm gonna bark.
Yeah, she's 11. She's 11 now, and so she's on her tour day. Don't give a fuck.
Yes.
When she was younger, she had more filters. Now she doesn't have any.
No. I mean, we all plan
So.
to be like that, so let's go.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is like intergenerational. Like a lot of these experiences, whether we're in RV parks, we're volunteering, I'm hanging out with boomers 90% of the time. And that was one thing, like, what is people's reaction to like you guys on the road? Like, because people still don't get it. Like the funniest one is people are like, are you retired? And I'm like, no, we are not independently wealthy or, have inherited anything. So no. And also, like, do you see us 9 to 5? There's like a massive misconception of like, we work, we still, like, we have our desk set up, we do our normal flow to the day, like it's really our office just moves once a month. But outside of that, like, the number one piece of feedback we get from boomers is they'll just be like, "You're doing it right." And it's just this like, yeah, because they have waited till retirement, and we all don't know if we'll ever make, especially millennials. I'm like, what's that? What's retirement? So I think it's just more a lifestyle mindset shift than any
shift.
They're like,
There's
yeah,
that too.
Your mindset has just shit, and I'm like, it has. Yes, it has. But it's just, yeah, and they see it, and they're like, huh, you'll work. And again, that comes with a ton of privilege and a lot of sacrifice, and a bit of luck. But it's still funny to see people this long on the road, like, just kind of stare at us like, how are you doing that? How does the internet work? How do you get a paycheck? I'm not getting a paycheck right now, but I am trying very hard. But yes.
That would be so interesting to be a fly on the wall with some of the folks that ask you those questions. Yeah. I'm sure you feel like a broken record.
A pretzel.
Yeah.
Yes, my intro conversation, where are you from? How do you do this? But the number one question is like, what do you do for a living? And that's a very American question. Like, it's what we do versus, like, I always start out like, love knowing where people are from. It's just, to me, so wonderful to, like, yeah, it's exactly how you started this whole conversation. It's a good place to start. Like, tell me about this one podcast, the landscape of your childhood. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, you're a human being. So let's start from the beginning. I just feel like, yeah, that's the place where it makes sense to start. So
it's your roots.
Yeah, exactly. You talked a little bit about your relationship with stuff and how that's changed with the Slowmad life. How has living nomadically influenced your views on sustainability and your relationship with stuff?
We don't need it. We don't need anything. Like, we just don't. Like, we did. Like, I liked coffee cups before. I've been drinking out of the same coffee cup for 3 years. Like, I was on this, I will admit, like, for me, it's very attached. Like, I cannot do chaos. It's the environment I grew up in, a lot of stuff, and I cannot do it. So it's like, to me, it's not just I think a lot of people, if we were being honest, I think stuff does bog us down a lot, whether it's like being able to do something extreme as this life, or it's just like how we spend our weekends, just like cleaning. So, and I also realized, like, that was another thing my climate course taught me, was like, this stuff problem, it's just us in a couple other countries. Like, no. Like, this is not how the world works, or should it? So but it's still been this like progressive, like, I did pick up the KonMari book, The Art of Stuff and Joy. I cannot remember now, in 2015. So it's like, it's been this like, okay, get rid of stuff. Okay. Then it was like, well, I can't have anything. And now it's very much this like essentialist mindset of like, what I have is high quality, because it has to be. I am sharing showers. I am not taking showers. By showers, I meant laundry facilities. Technically we are sharing showers, but I don't wear clothes in showers yet. The shower here is very cold. I may end up wearing some overalls in there tomorrow. But it's just, I can't deal with stuff, nor do I like stuff. But I've also learned that when I'm down to like 10 pieces of decor that I own, every time we like unpack, I'm like, I love this vase. Oh my gosh, look at this cute little plate that I got at this farmer's market, or this, antique store in Maine. Like, I just love my stuff more. I have like such a relationship with my things that when one goes, it's quite sad. I lost a t-shirt the other day due to someone else's laundry mistake, but not only do we not need stuff, I am telling you, with less stuff, it's like a clear path to happiness. Mm-hmm. Like,
it's a clearer
you can't
mind.
hide behind your stuff.
Yeah.
You can't hide behind anything either. Like,
It's
like, oh man, I can't do this today because like I've got to clean out this closet. And it's like, well, I don't have any closets to clean out. And that's another piece of like why our relationship works too. We don't realize like how much we as humans fight over stuff. dishes, laundry, like just this clutter. I'm like, we kind of eliminated that from our potential fight list. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm like looking around, like, yeah, all my. I mean, part of that we had to downsize a bit to moving from we've moved around a bit. We were in Minnesota.
Yeah.
We moved abroad to Japan for a few years. We came back, got an apartment, then like back in Minnesota. Then we moved from Minnesota. Now we're in New York City. So you sort of like we had to downsize moving to Japan. It's those tiny little apartments, and then New York City. I mean, unless you're making tons of money and get a big place, not going to happen. You're going to live in a smaller space. So
Yeah.
so
And
we're
there's also
living
this, like,
we're living somewhat of the tiny life.
you are city people get it. Like,
Yeah.
I remember my sister walked into my 600 square foot apartment. She's never lived in a city. She lived in very big suburban environments for a long time. She walked into my apartment in Denver and goes, "This is it." And I was like, 600 square feet. Now I'm living in 100.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
600's
what do you-
decent. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, for one person, I was like, look at this luxury. Like, everyone in New York is jealous of me, but you're not. But it's just this, like, a friend who also lives in a similar trailer setup as ours, 5 extra feet, raising 2 children, plus her partner, homeschooling. She, like, of course, she, like, summed it up well for me. She was like, no, it's like, you're a fish. And this is your fish tank. You don't know anything different. You adjust to it. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. I was like, I don't miss anything. Like, the more you add is just storage. Like, even if we were to gain those extra 5 feet, like, all we would need is more storage, and we don't need more stuff. So why would we need more storage? I don't know. I would love to fast forward 10 years from now and see, like, how I stick to it, or like what it'll be like. Or I think a lot of people will go this direction and have been on a slow roll like me. It's just like, we realize you don't really need stuff, and how much money you save when you don't have stuff can give you a lot of freedom. Like, I can tell you that the life choices I've made to have less, like, has allowed me to try to find the right career for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I needed half the paycheck. Like, it's real. I'm sure my retirement will hurt, but it's still one of those things that it's a lot of freedom.
Yeah. Well, if it looks anything like some of what the boomers have told you, then you're already doing that. And how much more are you actually going to need monetary wise, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Well, in conservation jobs, I'm like, well, let's go. Like, I'm not going to get the paycheck I was getting in big marketing, big brands, and that's okay. Like, I think that it's kind of, everything just lined up. It's like, of course I chose this job at the right time. Of course this life reflects those choices. Like, it just, and it wasn't just like overnight, like, I'm doing the damn thing. It was like a slow roll. I remember it's like, we packed too much stuff at our first stop, Pinedale, Wyoming. We had to get rid of thank goodness they had a thrift store. We were like, they probably haven't seen this much stuff. We just underestimated, but as time has gone, we keep getting less, and it's so funny. It makes it hard if you have to go on like a business trip. We've learned that. We're like, or an interview. I'm like, if I have more than one interview, you're going to end up seeing the same thing by about the third. We share this coat. Like, yeah. It's just like, you just do it.
Nice. Yeah, it all works out. Speaking of children, as part of the hashtag childfree by choice community, how does that choice shape your vision for freedom, travel, and the life that you're currently building?
I don't know if I could have answered that question even a week ago. Like, I'm a part of a couple child-free communities. Really incredible. I'll share some here because I didn't know they existed until I got on the road. Like, it wasn't a concept that I understood. I knew I was born not wanting children. I make the best aunt on the planet. I will.
The cool aunt.
I will have an aunt off with anyone.
You're a fully cool aunt vibe for sure.
Uncle Randy, as the kids call me these days. Just me and my rocking chair. But anyway, just last week in one of those communities, it's called Rich Auntie Supreme. Someone said, or someone quoted, or it was on their Instagram. It said, like, when you are child free, your future is up to you. And future isn't just like today, tomorrow, like it's long term. And so that can be both freeing, but it also gets you more accountable. It's like you can't say like, oh dang, I got to put this dream off till the kids get out of school. Like to me, I was like, oh, if I am making this switch, like I need to do it. I have no one else to do it for, to inspire or to pay for or to stay in the same area for. Like I have to do the damn thing. So it's been, yeah, I think that's the best way to sum it up is like only you are accountable for your future. Like no one else is going to either help you for that or hold you back. Like whatever that kid could do for you, I'm sure it goes both ways. But for me, child free has just been this space of like, oh, all you got is you. Oh, and Helen, hi doggy. Yeah, it's been really, really cool. And it's just something that I love and adore. And I'm really glad to see that the conversations are out there. I think there's so many spaces built for people with children that there aren't a lot of community or natural places to go when you're child free. Like, and that is changing. And I created like a child free and people that care about climate group. I was like, anybody want to hang out? I bet we have some stories to share. And sure enough, that was like 30 people RSVP'd to the last one. Nice. The next one's about 15. And it's just cool to say sometimes like you got to build those places for people to come too.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's more of a conversation with it. And, you know, like society does against folks that are not white, straight males, we get ostracized and all of these things, and society puts all these messages in our head for what we should and should not be doing. So yeah, that's really awesome that you're creating those spaces and being authentic to what it is that you want to do with your life.
Yeah, and there's a lot of child-free folks on the road. And I don't think that it's like, yes, I'm sure, I think those people most often have come to that decision before this thing. And it's more just like a natural path forward. I don't know that it's like everybody on the road has to be. Now, I've seen tons of families here and there doing it, but most of our friends from on the road have been child free. And that's really cool too, because I didn't see a lot of those in my places. Colorado, yes, but like not growing up. My Michigan crowd, like it wasn't so much that. So especially where I went to college, everyone like graduated and got married in Missouri. So it was just, I hadn't seen those people around. And although it was something I knew I wanted to do and I was solid in that, it's almost like there were two parallel paths. Like I didn't want children and I knew I wanted to live on the road. But to me, it wasn't until recently that I was like, oh yeah, there is an overlap, which is so silly. Most people probably see it. I didn't. It's like, oh, this has allowed me more time and freedom to do that darn thing. But to me, I was like, no, that's just what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's who I am.
Yes. Oh,
Helen.
there she is.
She's
Helen
my
Hunt.
Child. Helen Hunt.
She my child. Yeah. I got two fur babies. Yeah. I mean,
they're enough work, man. I've had special needs children and dogs, and they oh my gosh, like they've been incredible both on the road, but they're both pretty abused dogs in their past, and so there's just moments where you're like, why are you losing it at a frog? That's just what we're doing now. Aww. Hi, you want up? Yeah. You want to say hi? Say hi, everybody.
Oh, hi, baby. Hi, Helen.
This is why we have to do video in these.
Adorable.
When there's dogs, it just needs to make sense.
Hey, they're becoming more people are watching podcast videos now too, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, they want to see like the reactions on our faces and the dogs that we own.
Yeah.
That we live with.
She owns me. Yeah. She walks me every day.
Yeah, let's be real. That's why I'm like, they own me for sure. Right. They're walking me and not me walking them for sure.
I'm playing, but she knows what's up. You own this.
You've talked a little bit about some of the reactions that you've gotten on the road. Can you tell me a story of maybe one of the most unexpected or challenging things of being child-free and nomadic, or a stranger's reaction to what you're doing?
They've all been.
They're mostly just curious, it sounds like, or at least from what you said.
I hate that it's more like, I actually think that it is so many more conversations about work. Like, what do you do? How long have you been doing it? And that's just, again, that's very societal. I'm interested because we are going to Canada this summer. I'm like, will the conversation be different? I know it would be in other countries, so it'll just be interesting. But no, the conversation I wish was different. Like, I really do wish it was different. And I have noticed on the road, and I gained this perspective from some article somewhere where, you know, like you opened up to people on an airplane, because you're like, I'm never going to see this person again. People just like unreal. They go fast, hard, and deep with us. And I think it's that like airplane. Like if we're in a coffee shop or also on an airplane, or like just people just open up. They'll tell us things that I swear they don't even think they were going to say out loud or have not. So it's more of those conversations that surprise me. Not a ton. I got way more questions in my what we'll call more traditional life about being child-free, because that, I think it was the sequential step. People were like, oh, I see this for you. Now they're like, oh, you're so far off that path. Like, yeah, of course you're child-free. Like, it's never this, like, I don't get that many questions about like child-free and why when people see what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
huh, interesting. But then, yeah, like I said, a lot of conversations. We sat with a trucker the other day from Ohio, and we went hard and fast. Like, he just opened up to us, and it was just this most beautiful, never could have imagined conversation. So, and it's not so much child-free, but it is this like really raw human place that I had not experienced before living on the road. But I think that's not only what like the times are reflecting, but it's also, I think people see we're doing things differently and they're like, let me run some ideas past you. Like they just think we're different, and they're like, oh, something's different about you. Like they can't really articulate it, and I love that.
I feel like I can ask you some questions and you won't judge me. Yeah.
Or you're never going to see me again. And I'm like, careful, I'm here for a month. You'll probably see me at the grocery store tomorrow. Yeah. Which has happened. But yeah, it's so, I wish that if there was one thing I wish I did document this whole time, it's more of those conversations. So like just quick, because I started our Instagram just being like quotes from on the road, and I wish I just kind of kept the quotes, at least for myself, because people have said some funny stuff. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. I can't rattle off one particular conversation. I think it's just the general feeling is people are being really raw and real with us, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to. I've thought about just hitting the road and doing some of that with this. And I think there'd be so many people that would be open to, even if it's just like 10 minutes we sit and we record a story, and I think that would be so cool.
Well, the people of New York, that account.
Yeah, yep. There's a lot of people that go around. A lot of New Yorkers are just like, they don't even say anything. You try to go up to them and be like, hey, sir, do you have a minute? And did they just walk past you? But people will stop too. It's a mix. People will stop. Yeah. I in particular, like the old ladies of New York love to like stand and chat with me for sure. That's happened numerous times. Yeah, like, you're really friendly. Where are you from? Where you live? You live in the neighborhood? I'm like, yeah.
And you're like, yes.
Live up on the hill.
You don't.
I'll see you around.
I'm from Michigan. I'm from it's actually funny because Minnesota is where people think I'm always from.
So you're from Michigan, right? Nope, Minnesota. You're from Minnesota? Nope, Michigan. Yeah, that's funny. They're just
I'm like, I'm from up there.
Interchangeable. Yeah, they both start with M. They're about the same length. They're in the same area, roughly.
But man, are they a drive away because of that damn lake.
Yep, you got to go down and around. Yep.
People are like, oh, you did, but it's close. I'm like, not really.
No, it's not. Yeah. No, especially because you got to go around Chicago, and that's a mess. Ugh.
We have purposely only done that route once.
Yeah.
Might I recommend 36 in Kansas, my favorite highway. The ends. That's all I'll say. Great highway. You avoid everything.
It's clear.
You avoid
St. Louis,
Kansas City. Like,
no one's there. Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. You spoke a little bit about separate Sundays with your partner, and you guys have been doing this for a few years now. Is there a secret? Is there a secret sauce to staying grounded and connected on the road, so you're not like choking each other?
I know that's the other thing is like boomers will look at us and they'll go, and I'm not. This is data backed. Like I can give you like this isn't me just saying boomers are like this. Like truly, they're like I would kill him if we lived in a smaller RV, and I'm like, I'm a little. What about 200 extra feet like makes you not kill him?
Right.
But I'm always like, huh. But I think it's just we are better on the road than we were in a busy life, busy apartment, busy street in Denver. And that blows people's minds. And it kind of does blow mine too. Like I can't, but I think it's like three things. Yes, separate Saturdays. Like really honoring the other person's free time is big. And also all being curious about what they do on that day is also fun. It's like, oh, what'd you see? Where'd you go? How'd you feel? What did it smell like? Like just we have an active practice of like, I wouldn't say like we sit down, we're like, now is the time to ask questions. But we spend a lot of time talking, like an obnoxious amount talking to each other. And that's I don't think we have space in our lives often to do that with our partners. We do it morning, noon, night. Like most, we'll end up like before we're like, oh my God, it's 11. We've been doing this for 3 years and we'll catch ourselves just talking. There's a lot to talk about these days. So there's that. But in general, we just like really, I think conversation with each other is a craft and it's a practice and you have to work at it. So separate Saturdays, being curious about the other person's thoughts, days, anything. And then straight up therapy. Like we have now a marriage coach because those are things. Didn't know it. Didn't think about it. He was like, I want to go to therapy. And I was like, well, I want to come. This sounds fun. And then the therapist was like, well, I can't really do it on the road. You're not in my state, but I could be your coach. And I was like, who doesn't want a coach? Like
there's a nice back door there.
Yeah, and it's
That's
so
smart.
it feels like it really and the way how she is and how she presents herself, like she just she's the best like she's like who I would paint as a friend. And I'm always like, yes, like this is who we need here, a neutral party. So those three things, like hard conversations, long conversations, like yes, creating, you have to schedule separate time. I don't believe it just happens naturally. And then finding a third party to just like hang out with has been our three like secret sauces. I really
Love
like
that.
sauce.
Yeah,
I'm a Midwesterner. I'm like, give me the dip, give me the sauce, put them together.
Give me the
And that's
mayonnaise
my meal.
ketchup combo for the fries.
These
yeah.
chips,
I love
like
it.
let's go.
Oh my God. Yes, with
That's
the
my, like,
ruffles. The top
when he-
potato.
When he like, well, we also do this like rebellious. When the other person leaves, we're like, I'm gonna get some junk food, and it's not because the other person would say no. It's just like this funny thing. We also have twin beds. I want to say that out loud. There's a trending topic
Normalize
of
that. Yeah, younger people
Or-
sleeping separate. Yeah.
Divorce sleepers. There's some term right now I just saw in the Times yesterday. I was like, wait a minute, this is what we've got this. And that's another thing boomers see. If they have current shared beds, they'll look at us and like, do you guys have the twin bed model? And we're like, we sure do. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We sleep.
There-
It's crazy what sleep can do for your relationship.
It's true. Yeah, and if one snores, I know, I tell my partner, I'm like, if you ever snore, somehow we're going to have to figure this out because I can't with that. And we have, I don't know if it's several friends. I'm sure it is several friends, but we maybe just don't know because there's maybe an embarrassment factor to it. But I'm like, who cares? You're just sleeping.
Oh, I tell
Like, that's-
everyone. I'm like, get separate. I told coworkers.
I tell everyone.
Like, I tell everyone. I told the trucker the other day in the bar, I was like, get separate beds. I was like, this is going to save America. Like, that's my campaign, 2025. Like, that's the platform. That's what I'm going for. Like, separate beds. Like, it is so, but it's also like, it's also that, like, you need even a mindset of separation in such a tiny place. So it's like, I just go hide in my little book. And my book is physically really small right now. So yeah, it's a game changer. I can't, everybody get separate bed.
Yeah, we would have to, someday, we're not there yet.
Bunk beds.
Yeah, bunk beds to save some space. And I'm like looking, we have like 12-foot ceilings, so we have a lot of space up. Who knows how long we'll be in this apartment in particular?
You never
but
know.
Yeah, never know. Probably a little while. While we're in New York, we have with the two dogs we have. Somehow we found a place, and the place is fine. It's actually fairly spacious. It's a railroad apartment.
Ooh,
Yeah, and there's only 4 apartments in the building, so even better.
nice.
And one of them is empty right now, so even better. But when we applied for the place, the big selling point was the private backyard. Private fence backyard.
You can't
Nobody
leave.
else
If you
has
leave,
access to it. I know. We can't leave
if
this
you leave
place.
that place, you just have to leave the city.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
So good.
we'll never purchase unless I like win the New York lottery or somehow
Right.
this blows up and we can afford to
Yeah.
buy something. But
Yeah.
even then, I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy in New York City.
I've
Like,
never owned a home
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. I
I'm
know,
not, like,
and there's
I graduated in
talk about-
2008 from college, and I'm like, that has like left a permanent mark on me.
yeah,
Like it is like
Yeah.
I will. That's the other thing. Yeah, when I start to like dissect how I got here, I'm like, I think I just paid attention.
yeah.
Like
I
I
don't think.
just knew that like home ownership is scary and expensive and all these things, and I'm not necessarily running around going, I'm gonna fight all norms. It's just like
Yeah,
I'm not
But
even that
that's
good at math.
But we
like,
could
it works
spend
out.
we could spend a whole episode talking about this though. But the older I get, typically this is how it goes and how society is sort of like, they've brainwashed us into thinking, and
They
it's
just
not.
did it.
It's the banks and all these things that are brainwashing us into thinking that owning a home is such a good deal. But the older I get, I'm doing the opposite. Like the older people get, the more they're like, I want a house, I want to settle down, yada yada. The older I get, I'm like, I don't want to buy a house. And actually, I think it's the biggest hoax to have ever come to fruition in our society. It is not a good deal. It is such a horrible deal. One, you're paying your mortgage plus the interest over 30 years. Complete ripoff. You are maybe making 3 or 4% by the time you get to the point where you want to sell your house. Plus, you would have paid for all of the broken shit. You would have paid for all the shit to fill up your house. It is not a good deal. You could have taken that money and gone and done something really fucking cool and like completely changed your life and lived on the road. Or you could have rented and not had any sort of roots to a place. You can uproot
Yeah.
and leave and move to Japan or move to New York City or go wherever you want because you weren't locked into the stress of having to unload, a $500,000 property. You could have taken that money and invested it into the stock market and started young with a retirement account and let it grow over time. And then you have more flexibility because your retirement is not linked to a job, right? Like, I could go on and on about this, but
You and I, we're gonna have to just schedule a regular hang time to just like feel that, because it just has never made sense to me. Now, what television do I watch? Home reno shows. But that's just
Same.
just telling me I'm right. Like,
Yeah.
especially with older homes, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that looks. Oh, you blew your budget. Weird. I could have never guessed that. But
Oh,
like,
I'm shocked. There's mold that you didn't know about. I'm shocked.
You didn't check the foundation. Like, that's wild. Or like, we just like that is something. This, I will say, like this, like we are 100% more in the elements. Like I said, we have been through 4 unnatural disasters. Like, holy shit. Like, we want to be able to hook our, this is in theory. I know what happened in California and a lot of people had to abandon their cars. Like, I paid attention to that too. I was like, oh yeah, I can't just like roll out of here. But it is something, I just think we all need to think differently about how to live. Not just from like a financial standpoint or logistics. It's like, our footprint is too big, and we're gonna have to become. I really believe like this nomadic. It's such a natural flow. Like it is. Like I said, I know when the sun rises. I know when it sets. Like my internal clock is so strong. But it's like this nomadic thing. What people did for centuries, and I'm like, can we all just maybe try that for a little bit? Like I think you. And it's with so much, our society is not there. So like 100%, I will probably be living in an apartment, but it'll be an apartment someday again, and who knows where. But I think it's just like, you gotta think a little differently. Like, and I think once you start to do that, it just continues to unravel. Like this like yarn of possibility. You're like, whoa, I don't have to do that. I can do this. I can look at this differently. I can challenge someone else. I can help them brainstorm. Um, yeah, it's kind of wild. I
Hmm.
don't, I'm scared of home ownership.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I know. Like, I don't even
Insurance,
want
come to find out.
to. Oh, God.
That's not a safety net anymore either.
No. Right. Yeah, they're screwing tons of people out of stuff. And
Yeah, and it's not
yeah, the
gonna, like,
California
that's the thing,
wildfires.
it's not getting better, folks. Like, please mark
Right.
my words. Get your separate bedrooms, maybe separate trailers. Maybe that's the new move.
I've
Just
seen
like,
folks on the road that have separate vans or separate rig setups
I don't
too.
know. I have so much respect. Now that's what's funny is like I have so much respect for van lifers. Like that is, it's truly just from a work standpoint. We could live in it, but like he has to have a massive screen. Like he looks at architectural plans. Like I can work off of just something tiny because I'm just an email person. But yeah, it's, I don't know how people do it, but I also just respect and think that that is the way of the future. So we'll
Hmm.
get back to you. I just, again, I want to fast forward and be like, how many campers will we have in our yard?
Yeah, own
There's a
some
good
land and
chance.
then you can just park it. And
Yeah, just yeah.
I
Oh
I
yeah.
have this dream of like a yurt, like an adventure rig, and then like a yurt,
Hmm.
and then just little places that
Like
aren't.
a studio.
Yeah, like art.
I just want a
Yeah, like
studio.
an art woodshop studio yurt, and then the visitor mother-in-law suite yurt, and then
Yes.
our yurt, and then the adventure rig, and
And guess
I
what?
don't
If it
know.
gets wiped out, because it will, it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay. Like you had six thrifted things in there anyway.
yeah,
Like you're good. Like we're all good. Yeah, it has changed. It's again, it's just like it's, and sometimes like feel like I've like bought into a different religion, like, and it always comes with separate beds. But I'm just like, I'm long gone. Like I could talk about this forever, and I really like I'm trying to convert people at this
yeah,
point.
absolutely.
But
Like
it's more
if
people are getting it.
yeah, if every time you said separate beds, we could have made that into a drinking game, I think we'd be pretty sloshed by now.
But it's two because it's two.
Separate beds,
Um,
two beds. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
buddy.
Oh man, yeah. Just call this
Um,
episode "Separate Beds and
separate
Such."
beds. You spoke a little bit about misconceptions before, but what's one misconception that people have about the Slowmad digital nomad lifestyle that you wish you could clear up? Not that you have to, not that you have to
Yeah.
like
No, I mean,
respond to or explain yourself, but
no. I think it helps. Like, I wish people are a little bit more real about it before I got into it, just mentally prepare. Um, I think for the heart, like this is circumstantial. Like, and I'm really bummed that our society is not in a place where remote work is more acceptable, widespread, accessible. Like it, I having to search for a job on the road has been incredibly difficult. It's like a catch-22. It's like, okay, well, if I have to work hybrid, I have to be in an area, but I can't move to an area until I have a job because I can't fund that. So I'm in this like weird place, and we're just gonna have to make a decision at some point. But it that has been really, really hard, and also like we our days look like a normal work day. Like we're up at 6, we have coffee by 7, like we are on the clock by 8. We try to end early. I think that that's a piece that I didn't have freedom to do in a 9 to 5 setting. Like get out and at least have some fun or workout or wander in the evening. But I think it's just a misconception that like you can't work 9 to 5 from, I think you just have to have the job lined up maybe beforehand. I swear I tried. I tried. I really did. I did. And then I tried to do freelance, and I was like, I love people too much. I cannot talk to
yeah,
myself all damn day. Um, so yeah, yeah. And then just the admin happens. I call it admin. Like you got to still do laundry. You got to still run errands every once in a while. Less, yes. You're gonna have to get mail. You're gonna have to do that stuff. And some of that stuff's just a little harder because you are remote. But it's, yeah. I don't think those things go away. I would say they are less. But sometimes like laundry, it feels like the Hunger Games sometimes. It's like you're watching other people, seeing if they're going to get in there. You time them, you watch their door close. Do they normally do laundry on Mondays? Like, are they going to ruin my laundry because they use crazy things in the laundry machine? Like, it just, and it takes like a day to do laundry when it's from a shared. Even going to a laundromat is easier, but it's in an RV park when you're sharing it. It is a game. So that's probably one of my biggest complaints. And then shared showers. That's tough after a long time, or not tough until you have to get ready for something fancy, like like a bit like I don't know what fancy things are. You're hosting a happy hour, let's say, of strangers, and one person comes, but you want to look nice for that one person.
Yeah.
Like, just speaking from experience, it literally just happened last week. But yeah, it's some of that stuff is just kind of cumbersome and different. You can't just pop in laundry and continue work. Yeah, but life still happens. Like, it still happens. I think that what I say is that my weekends just look different. I'm in a different location, and I have closer access, especially coming from Denver. If I hear one more person say that that is an outdoor city, I'm going to lose it. It's like, no, you have to get to the trailhead before everyone else at 3 a.m.
It's busy.
It's
so busy, honey.
Oh my! And then don't even try to ski. Like, just let that dream go.
Nope. Yeah, even bikepacking. One of my best friends lives in Denver, and she's like, "Fuck this place for all this shit." And guess where she goes? Northern Minnesota.
Oh, I was like, Wyoming is where I went. Good dirt road.
Not as
opposite direction.
Not as busy, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest misconception is that, like, our life doesn't look like other people's. I think it's just physically we're in a different place, and we have a lot less stuff. That's it. Sum it up. Boom.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the finale here?
What did my face just say? I don't know. I can't control this. Like, we are two separate entities.
If you could design a perfect slow travel day from start to finish, what would it look like from the town you're in to how you spend your time?
It looks like my Saturdays, my regular standard Saturdays. It's like a lot of reading in the morning, a good little lunch spot, and then some wandering in the woods. Probably nothing that extreme, just like a good bike ride, nothing too wild. And then it always ends in what we call community centers, aka breweries across America, talking to strangers.
Yeah,
like
amazing.
And that is the template of almost every Saturday. And that's how we also choose where we stay. Like, they need to have some sort of community center nearby. And
I think that would be on my criteria too. Yeah,
and it's just been this, like, oh, it's so fun. That's where we've met an incredible amount of people. I don't know where else to go. Like, the VFW, like, no, I don't. Like, that's people, they're busy sometimes. But
yeah, they do get packed out sometimes. I used to play trivia at the VFW in Minneapolis. It was, but they had an awesome setup. They ended up redoing the whole. They had three different parts to the bar. They had the back bar, the front bar, and it was separated by, like, this tiny little stairwell. So, and like two doors. So it very much was separated. You could walk into the back or walk into the front and not know either exists. And then they had a side ballroom where they would have drag shows. So I'm like, the VFW has drag. Yeah, the VFW has drag shows. Like, very Minneapolis though, very progressive. And so like all the, like, Vietnam vets are, like, in the front with their screens watching sports with their Bud Lights and their cigarettes. In the back, it's all the, like, 20-something, 30-something, like, gritty, progressive liberals playing trivia, and then on the side, there's a drag show in the ballroom. Yeah.
This is like
amazing.
That would be my perfect Saturday.
That's humanity, baby.
Yep. Like that. It's when worlds collide. Like.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be in some towns and we're like, this doesn't make sense, but I like that it doesn't make sense. Like, these worlds, like, that we think are so separate.
Conundrum. Yeah.
Yep. It puts you right in a little pretzel, and you're like, I like that feeling. But my dream day just kind of looks like the day I live, and just really slow.
Slowmad.
Not a lot of, like, we got to get to the trailhead by, we got to pack the things, and we got to meet with people. That's, not that I wouldn't love to do all of that again someday, and sometimes it does have to happen, but in busier places, but it's just my own time. I own it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good way to end. Yeah, thank you so much. I feel
Thank
like
you, cousin.
I, yeah, right. I feel like
I say that to everyone in the Midwest. I'm like,
thank you,
cousin.
cousin. Thank you, cousin.
Cousin?
Well, just more connected. Like, yeah, you're super
Yeah.
rad and awesome and authentic, and what you're doing is really cool, and you're the whole like span of the different things you've done in your life and how things have morphed and changed, and yeah, super awesome and inspiring.
Well, this stuff's contagious. Same. Like same. Like we have these people are around. We got to go find them, and we got to hang with them, and we got to tell people about them because I think when you're more around people that think a little bit differently, like it's incredibly empowering. Like you just believe you can do anything too,
Mm-hmm.
even if they didn't tell you that. You're like, well, I didn't say you could do that. That's a little extreme, but sure, yeah. I'm glad I can feel inspired you. But yes, thank you so much for your time and for doing this. I think it's such a brilliant idea to bring folks together.
Thank you again. Take care. Hey, y'all, really hope you enjoyed that episode. And I wanted to let you know that I'm launching a Patreon to help keep Dirtbag Therapy alive and growing. Right now, there are only 2 levels of support offered, and the goal is to build some momentum. If we get this thing off the ground, I'll add more perks like exclusive content, live Q&As, and even some road trip postcards. This summer, I am hitting the road to bring you more adventure content, wild stories, and deep dives into dirtbags that I meet on the road and their lifestyle. But that takes time, gear, and gas money. If you want to be a part of this from the start, here's your chance. So if you join the crew, look in the show notes, and the link is below. And if you can't support financially, no worries at all. Rating the show, subscribing, and sharing it with a friend helps so much. So let's keep this adventure rolling. Really appreciate your support.